Hear now the word of the Lord from Job chapter 11, verses 7 through 12, which can be found on page 801 of your Pew Bibles. Can you fathom the mysteries of God? Can you probe the limits of the Almighty? They are higher than the heavens. What can you do? They are deeper than the depths of the grave. What can you know? Their measure is longer than the earth and wider than the sea. If he comes along and confines you in prison and convenes a court, who can oppose him? Surely he recognizes deceitful men, and when he sees evil, does he not take note? But a witless man can no more become wise than a wild donkey's colt can be born a man. So in this verse, it talks a lot about knowledge and wisdom. I'm a vocab person, so definitions help me. And the dictionary definition of knowledge is being familiar with facts and information. So this has its merits, and knowledge helps us to know the world around us and to learn more about ourselves. But this is also a common strategy that atheists say, and that I've heard before, that because we know so much about our world, why do we even need a God? Why do we need him to tell us what to do? But the truth is that we don't really know a lot about our world. There's so many things that we have no idea how they work. We don't know what's on the bottom of our oceans. Sometimes we even know how things work, like certain medicines and stuff, but we're not sure why. There's so many questions that are unanswered that can only be answered by the existence of a God. And sometimes, even though we know we don't know everything, we still try to have control. We as humans love control. We love to have things scheduled and planned out, and we kind of freak out when something happens to ruin our plans. It's almost like if you've ever been to a sports game and the coach puts a player in a weird position maybe, or like runs a play that you don't think will work. There's always that one person that questions them. And they're like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? This isn't going to work. But the coach knows what they're doing. Similarly, you could be like the backseat driver that's like, hey, why didn't you take that road? Or why didn't you turn this way? But the whole time the driver knows that the reason they went a different way was because the bridge was out. We are that person. And whenever there's something in our lives that we don't understand, we look at it and we say, God, why are you doing this? What can we do with this? But instead of looking at it that way, we need to change our mindset and look at our lives and see what's happening and say, God, I don't understand what's happening, but please help me to see the situation and act appropriately to how you want me to further your kingdom through the situation. Because God is sovereign. And another dictionary definition is that sovereignty is when you have supreme and independent power or authority. So this obviously describes God because of his power, and he doesn't have to answer to anybody. So we can look to him whenever we don't know what's happening and whenever we don't have the knowledge to see what he's doing in our lives, because he's sovereign and he knows what he's doing. So what does this mean? We have to live for God and look to him for this help because we don't know everything that's happening and we don't have the knowledge that he does. We can do this by reading and studying the Bible, praying and asking the Holy Spirit for guidance, and learning more about him and gaining knowledge about him, which leads to wisdom. Wisdom is a little bit more than knowledge, because knowledge is just knowing the things, but wisdom is being able to act on them. So it's important to have the knowledge through reading the Bible and praying and everything. But wisdom is even more important because that's how you act. So you may know right and wrong, but if you don't act on it, it doesn't really mean anything. So in order to live entirely for God, you have to have the knowledge, but you also have to have the wisdom, because he loves us so much that he sent his son to die for us, and we can never repay that. So we need to live our lives in response to that love and have knowledge and wisdom to act how he would want us to act.